everybody, to our inaugural episode of I Wish podcast. On today's show, we are featuring Marie Ramos, who is the founder of the Money Making Esthetician and also has a thriving aesthetic business in Studio City. We cannot wait. Maria, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you, and we'll have to tell the story about how we actually came to meet, because that's like a whole nother podcast in of itself.
It was
But
totally
why don't you,
by the way.
why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got into aesthetics? Tell us the story.
Okay, so I originally started, I believe it was like 2016, 2017. I was living in like El Monte at the time when I went to school. My first school that I went to was Maranello.
Yes.
And then during Maranello, it closed down while I was in beauty school. And then I hopped over to Paul Mitchell, which I loved. I loved my experience at Paul Mitchell. I had the best teachers. And then I got licensed. I literally got licensed Monday and I had a job by Friday. And
so
then
this is in 2016?
Yeah, 2017.
Okay, all right.
And then I got, European Wax Center, started working at European Wax Center. And then I think like a week into my training, I found out I was pregnant. And then I stopped working.
Surprise.
Surprise! And then I stopped working. And then I went to start going solo because I was like a mom. And then that's actually why another big like reason for me to have the group. I went solo and I was absolutely terrible. I was so bad. I had no idea what I was doing. My verbiage was bad. I didn't know my back bar. I didn't know my retail. So like most, I failed going solo. And then I went back, started working at Brooke Williams, got phenomenal training, learned so much. And then I learned I have to be literally studying all the time.
Yes.
Because an impaired barrier is real, and you cannot be putting a blueberry enzyme on somebody like that. And then was working, went solo, worked all this stuff, went to open my business February of 2020. Ooh. And then everybody knows what happened a couple weeks after. The pandemic hit. And then I was at home studying all the time. So in the middle before this, there was a time where I worked at a record label. And my job was to do spreadsheets. So I love spreadsheets. So during the pandemic, I was doing all these spreadsheets for myself because everybody went online. And it's like this class, eyelash class. So like I had really organized spreadsheets that I was just sharing with the aesthetic community. Yes. And then during all that, I was helping another group. And that I had an idea. So what my group is now, I wanted to do it for somebody else. But they didn't like my idea. So I was like, that's okay. Because respectfully, it's your vision, it's your thing.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm going to start my own. So I started my own, and it was like crickets for like a year and a half. It was just me talking to myself in there. And I was like,
hold on, before you start talking about the group, I want to talk a little bit about so go back to Brooke Williams for a minute. So you graduated from aesthetic school, you decide to go solo. You're like, this is a terrible idea. This is not the way to do it. I don't know what I'm doing. So you go and you interview which Brooke Williams? Is it still open?
Santa Monica.
Okay, so you got the fancy. All right. And of course, Brooke Williams knows what they're doing. So you got you learned how to do a really fantastic treatment.
And it's not just the treatment to me, it's verbiage, knowledge. Yeah. For example, retail and client retention starts the minute they walk in the door. Yes. So like when you're cleansing, for example, like using a Wish product, you're going to be like, so one of your concerns was acne. So salicylic acid, oil attracts oil. This is going to help. Like, this is why you have these comedones, and like really tailoring the treatment to the client versus it just being a treatment. That's what they call it. And then
I love it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So what I think is awesome, and the people that are obviously going to be primarily listening to this are estheticians. They're probably going to be all levels, some that are just getting started. And as you know, we're going to talk about the group. But what I see a lot of is people making that exact mistake, graduating from school and running immediately to go be solo. And then they're like, I asked my dad, and he gave me $30,000, and I bought a hydrofacial machine, and I have no products. I don't know how to do a treatment. I don't know how to market myself, but I have this $30,000 machine. And so that's where this becomes a really crucial story, because you're like, don't follow in my footsteps. Like, my advice, we've talked about this before, is I tell every graduating esthetician, go work somewhere and do 100 facials before you even think about making a move to do something else. You need to do 100. It could be waxing, could be lashes, could be anything, but you need to do it 100 times to really get a feel for what you're actually going to be doing in real life. Because that solo dream, obviously you're solo now, you got this going on, but you had to go through a little bit of a windy path to get there.
100%. I think I tried to go solo more out of necessity because I had my daughter. She was 1. And I was like, who's going to hire me? Like, I could only work like 2 hours every other day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So finally, I just had to make that commitment of like, I hated it. I had to put her in daycare, but I had to focus on the bigger picture. And for me personally, like when I became a mom, I was like, I have to, I couldn't even get emotional. I was like, I have to provide for her. Like, what am I going to do? You know? So I had to make that, like, it was not an easy decision, but it was kind of like, you got to boss up. You know, I had to put her in daycare. I went to Brooke Williams. I know, I was like, this is a huge sacrifice to both of us, but it's totally going to pay off, you know? And then it did. And then now, like, today I was telling my boyfriend, I have so many people asking me for appointments, I can't even take it. I don't want them. You know? I'm absolutely so grateful. Like, today I have 3, and it's supposed to be my day off.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely grateful. And every time, like, it never gets old. Like, the minute I get in that treatment room, oh my God, it feels like I'm a kid in a candy store. Because I'm like, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to layer this, and we're going to do that. But it didn't start off that way. The first time somebody came to me, I remember it like it was yesterday. He came in, first time client. Are you familiar with SkinScript?
Absolutely.
Okay. Blueberry enzyme on a first time sensitive client. Spicy. Like, why did I do that? He was like, he begged me to take it off of him. Begged me. And I was like, what? Okay, so then fast forward, I like was not retaining clients. I'm good at getting clients in. Like, I don't know what I do, but I got a lot of clients in. And I couldn't, and then I was like, I have all these clients. I saw 15 clients. Like, I don't have anybody for next month. Like, I'm not rebooking. I'm not selling. I didn't have retail. This goes back to that one girl who goes and spends $30,000 on a hydrofacial machine but has no retail. Oh my God. OMG.
I know, you get me riled up. It gets me completely riled up. But you know,
That was me.
like, what can I get? What can I? So this is why this is so important. So I see the value in actually sharing best practices based off of what we know that works in the industry, and everybody had to go down a certain path to get there. So
Right.
whether it was going and failing as a solo esthetician and thinking, oh my God, I've just completely screwed up. We had a pandemic to go through. There's a lot of variables that get thrown at us. So I think I know that the goal of this platform is to really highlight best practices. So you don't have to make the same mistakes. You don't have to go through that. Maria, the emotions, I can feel your emotions when you talk about your daughter every time. I love your post. I love her. She's so adorable and amazing, and it's so cute. But the industry, predominantly being women, have had to make that decision about putting their daughter in daycare. Like, come on. I know it's a huge. I'm not even a mom, but I could feel the emotion in that. That is, we're 98% women in this industry. So it's a consideration. You're like, I need to provide for my daughter, so I got to like buckle down, and I'm going to do it by doing this. And hey, Brooke Williams.
Yeah, well, it's also a couple of things. I also understand, and there's two things which makes me so. Yes, we are primarily women. Like, for example, I'm going to go in today. I know I'm going to make at least $600-700, right? Like,
Yes.
Whatever, right? But who goes in half day, and I still volunteer like a maniac at my daughter's school. But I also do understand, which is why when I like took your class and we learned about biohealth and like how to do acne, not everybody has that time. Like, I have a really, really good support system.
Yeah.
Where, like, if I'm not there, like, I moved in with my aunt would help me pick up, drop off, and I knew my daughter was safe, fed, happy, played with, like, you know what I mean? But not everybody has a support system. So fast forward now, when I created this group, if somebody really takes so you're going to spend time or money. I didn't spend time on Brooke Williams because they paid me to do it. It was $15 an hour, which wasn't probably not a lot at the time.
Yep.
But or you take a class like Wish, and but you really have to focus. Like it is your full-time job.
Yeah.
Like you can't be playing with your education. Like an impaired barrier is real. Knowing what's going to trigger acne, but if you really take the time to like get that education. When I was going to Brooke Williams, I didn't have something like this group where people are just like pouring into you, you know, but taking it more
Yes.
seriously. Like I think at the time, what acne class? I don't even remember. But I didn't even know about continuing education. I was just like, I have like a thing where I don't really care. I'll DM anybody. And I'm like, what class is this? What is this? What are you asking? Like, you know, because you don't get what you ask for. But now we're
Yeah.
in a place where like, there's literally a forum that's telling you what education to take. So if you can't do Brooke Williams,
Yeah.
you can do a Wish class from home with your kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But take
This
it
is so.
seriously.
It came out of the so in the during the pandemic, after we freaked out and everybody's like, we're all gonna die, and I gained 30 pounds in like a month, and I'm like, how is this even possible? I decided to finish I was like, I don't have control over anything that's happening outside of my four walls. I've got to take care of my dogs. I have to feed myself, which was, side note, my friend Jim's like, David, you need to go to the store right now, and the world's getting ready to shut down. And so I went to the grocery store. Everybody had this experience, can relate to this. And people were freaking out, Maria, running down the aisles, just scooping things and throwing them in their cart. And so I'm trying to not be one of those people. So I was just pushing my cart, and just casually, whenever there was like frozen pizza, I was like, well, just take 3 of these. And oh, there's Marie Calendar pot pies. Take 3 of these. I was just trying to casually put whatever was left on the shelf. There was no canned goods. There was no meat. There was no toilet paper. Like this, it was, as we know. So after that first like 5 weeks of freaking out, I was like, I don't have control over anything else other than my education. So I used 2020 to finish my education, which is where the digital platform came out to make people like, we're busy. We all got things going on. And how do I continue to educate myself? But we'll talk about that later. So before we actually get into talking about your group and what that actually means, so you're actively in the treatment room, you're doing treatments every day. Talk to me about like the favorite treatment that you love. What's your favorite treatment to give? What do you love doing the most?
I don't know. Okay, so all of it, to be honest. Okay. So I obviously love my 90-minute because I'm just like, yeah, I give the best. I went to Brooke Williams and I got taught by a massage therapist. So like my massages are like, you drop the mic. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
But then I really started with corrective skincare. So it was like, I originally went into it like, I just want to do acne. I just want to do hyperpigmentation, chemical peels, in, out, by.
Yep.
But where I'm located is Studio City, and some people want a little more luxe. And I honestly really I love massage mediums. I have this obsession with massage mediums and like hair oil. Like I want to, and then I do a paraffin wax. And I tell myself, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to focus on acne. And then the other day, this one client came in, and everybody tells me the same thing. So I could say her name is Francia. She's like been coming to me for a really long time. And so I had given her, one of my other girls did her peel the last time. And so I did her peel this time. She goes, Maria, I don't know what it is that you do. Maybe because I'm not scared. She's like, every time I do the peel, my skin peels beautifully and it looks gorgeous after. It's just tighter. And I love hearing like just the transformation. So I just like, I love it all. And I love like the microcurrent and seeing their face twitch or using the leaf. Like it's just so fun every single time because everybody's going to be different.
You touch on something that's really, really amazing, that I believe that estheticians you guys are natural healers. You're a mom, so you already have that nurturing aspect of it, but the willingness to give and to really give a really amazing massage and a treatment and the paraffin and all the stuff, you want to throw so much love at your clients. And there's a space for all of it. There's a space for the client that wants the luxe treatment. And there's the 14-year-old boy that doesn't barely wash his face. It's like, I got to get off this table. Like, how long is this going to take?
So I also really like, acne was my passion because I had really, really bad acne, right? But I also come from a place, because I think I trained really well with Brooke Williams, I take my continuing education. Like, I literally sit the client down. And I don't know what happens in my treatment room, but every client cries. Like, on their consultation. I was like, you are beautiful. And they're like, ah. And I'm like, what? I don't always happens to me. Like, so my
It's
acne
sweet.
client comes in, right? And they're looking at me and I'm looking at them. Maybe it's the dim lighting. I don't know. And they're telling me about their skin. And I'm like, if there's one thing you want to fix, whatever. So they tell me everything they want to fix. I was like, I want to start off by telling you you have really good skin. And that gets them every time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and I don't
Yes.
say it because I'm trying to get them. I want to tell them because I'm like, I'm not here to like shame you. This is a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like,
Mm-hmm.
I answer every DM, every text, everything. And because we build that relationship, and I think that's what I love, I even have a prayer wall in my treatment room. You saw it.
I love
And
it.
everybody puts their manifestations on there. And it's like so cool because they've been with me so long that like it actually happens. So there's so many different parts of the treatment room. I think the question was, what treatment do I like to do? And now I'm on this
Yeah.
ramp.
What do you love to do the most? Like, what's your favorite thing to? But you, it's all of those things.
It's all of it. It's the entire, it's like the people, it's like whatever, I think, okay, the real question is I like to do whatever they're coming in for. So like, I
Mm-hmm.
like to tailor the treatment to them because like I'll have a client and I'm like, now we're going to do a whole period, like a series of like wish pills, or now we're going to do a whole like oxygen treatment, or you're a little bit older, so we're going to do microcurrent. So it's really loving on them and they
Mm-hmm.
like, that's whatever that's going to happen with that.
Which is you, you are literally, this is part of who you are, part of your nature, and also part of your training is that you're developing a relationship right out of the gate with your consultation, and sometimes tears get shared. You know, there people don't the space of an aesthetic room and actually going in and having an experience of positive touch. People don't get to hear compliments. Like, she just told me that my skin's beautiful, and then all the
Yeah.
emotions come flowing, right? So it's a safe space, but your personality and who you are as a person comes out in your treatments. I used to say, one of my educators, that she was very tough. Like, she wrote a parley, like she was tough. And when she was doing a peel on somebody, she was like grinding, and I was like whoa, because we're an anti-inflammatory company at that time. Like, okay, like, but it was a personality thing. So, but that was, she was not into giving like long massage. She wanted to do a clinical treatment. She was actually trained by Dr. Mirad. She worked with him for a long time. So it was very clinical, aggressive. And so I think it's beautiful that everybody gets to have their personality and their passion come out in their treatments and all that fun stuff. So I love that. I love that you're acne. I love that you get to do what you love every day. You get to continue to say, you know what, this is what we're going to do for you today. That might not be what we did last time, and that's okay. And hearing the feedback from clients, I mean, you know, when you start clearing somebody's face, or when somebody feels better about themselves, they're going to love you for life. And, you know, the goal is to have everybody be so busy they don't know what to do with themselves. So,
I'm really like, Marcos asked me, like, did your client even know what they come in for? I said, no. They have no idea what they're coming in for. They're just like, we're going to come in for an hour, 90 minutes, do your thing. But because I'm very thorough in the consultation of this is our treatment plan.
yes.
You know, I tell them
Yes.
we're going to bump it a notch every single time. So they don't care. They're just like, do it.
And actually, you know what? I think that we can get trained on all the protocols in the world, but it's really about how the client shows up today. If they've been busting their barrier, they've over exfoliated, they use just whatever, a scrub, and they're coming in for a peel, and you're like, you know what, we're not going to do that today because they're going to catch on fire on the treatment table. And you're like, today we're going to do some barrier repair because you know, and they're like, you're looking at their face and you're like, okay, that's crazy. So since you've come into, you know, been practicing aesthetics now 2016, what do you feel has evolved in the aesthetic space? Like, as far, I know there's trends happening all the time, but since you started to now, and obviously gaining more clientele and getting busier, what trends have you seen in the industry? Like, what direction do you think, what are we currently seeing that's the trendiest thing in the space?
Trendy. I don't know about trendy. I think what I see more is probably like a little more, obviously, like community. I don't know if I'm also a little more biased because like I'm in it, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I also think that people are a lot. So when we first started the industry, I remember in school it was like peel happy, peel it, peel it, peel it, peel everything. Who cares? Take it off,
Mm-hmm.
take it all off. And now we've kind of went into a space of like actually caring about the overall like holistic, like what are you eating? What is your lifestyle? Like crystals and stress. I think crystals for sure.
Yeah.
Korean skincare, worrying about the like health of the skin, the health of the client. And when I
Yep.
think before it was like Jesner peel, take it off, you know?
And you know what, at the time, so the industry, obviously, me being really, really heavy into the world of dermatology and looking at what's actually happening in that space before we conceptualized Wish and what that was going to look like, there wasn't even talk about, I don't even know that there's one aesthetic program in the country today that actually uses the word microbiome and starts
Yeah.
talking about what microbiome health is. We talk about barrier function, we learn a little bit about barrier function, but we're not actually speaking to microbiome health and what that actually means to the total health of the skin. So it's like this new wave of, I see a lot of trendy, and when I worked with Dermalogica, Ray and Jane were very big on not ever having a trend, to the point where, SkinCeuticals was taking off with their vitamin C serum, and we're running around going, you guys, we need a vitamin C serum, or we need a vitamin C serum. Like, no, we're not doing that, because they didn't want to follow a trend. So I think as estheticians are practicing on the daily, you get to see, clients come in and ask for things that they saw on TikTok or Facebook, or they like saw this post, and right, and you're like, okay, that's actually not what you need today.
Like this, right? Like this person wants a chemical peel.
Exactly, right.
We're not
And so
doing that.
if you're listening to this on your podcast platform, you'll be able to view this on YouTube. What Maria just showed us was somebody with extremely sensitized skin that wants a chemical peel, and
No.
no, no.
But like that's the kind of stuff of like knowing the knowledge, taking the treatment room in your control and saying no, but verbalizing it in a way that's, for me, my way. Everybody does it different. I'm very kind, and I'm like, so this is how we're gonna do it, and I'm like, but firm at the same time. And so for them, I'd be like, we're gonna do three facials, we're gonna restore the barrier, and then like after your fifth facial, we're working towards the chemical peel, but like you need to take all these products home because we're not doing that.
Yes. And let's get your barrier health intact before we actually, so you're going to get the true benefits from what a chemical peel would actually do for you. Otherwise, you're going to catch on fire, and then your face is going to be way more inflamed. Your barrier function's already impaired. Like, I know, there's a aesthetic school 5 minutes from our office, and I go over there and speak, and most of the girls are learning Dermalogica in school, and I know it very well because I've been, worked with Dermalogica for 7 years, and I'm like, it's just like cosmetology school. The hairdressers are like giving each other crazy hair color, and they're perming their hair one week, and the girls are like, you gotta calm down on the treatments. Like, your skin is going through a cycle, and like, you can't be giving yourself a peel every third day you come in here for a class. Like,
Yeah.
why is my face so sensitive? I'm like, because you're over as we know. So talk to me about, we're gonna get into your group, and I'm so excited because it's been such a phenomenal thing for us, our partnership. But tell me what a DIY skincare practice that you've heard somebody come in with. I know we had a conversation about one, but I want to hear a client's come in with their own DIY home care thing that you're like, what are you doing?
So I don't get many anymore, but the other day I was like doing an acne thing, and I was like, I don't understand why this isn't working. Like, what is going on? And I was like, I don't understand. So I sit down and I'm like, let's talk about it. And I'm like listening, because it's like, you kind of have to be playing detective without flat out saying like, you're not doing everything I'm saying. So she's like, no, I'm following your regimen to the T. Everything's to the T. I was like, well, something's going on. And then, so we keep going. She's like, you know what I've been doing? I've been putting cloves on my face. And I don't know what else she said. And I was like, can you not do that, please? And, like, nicely, respectfully. And then and now she's clear because she stopped doing that. I had another client where I was like, we almost had her clear. I was like, what is going on? And then she messages me. Or we're like talking, and I'm like, so how was your weekend? What's new? Like, and I'm trying to figure out, why is she breaking out? And then she's like, she started taking whey protein because she was like, oh, I'm trying to get gains.
Trigger.
And I was like, yeah. So she had just a lot of acne come back. So then just kind of like, but going it through there nicely, and it's like, when they have acne, like, you're really going through with them, like through it. Does that make sense? Through it with them.
Through the process, yes.
Yeah. I've had people cry at my bed everybody normally when they're really bad acne cries during extractions. And that's when we're kind of like, Normally, when it's a new client, it's their 2/3, and I know they have very inflamed acne, I will block off extra time to like go really slow because I know they're
Yeah.
gonna be like, I hate this.
Right. They're like, and they're the number one question we get as a brand is how long is it going to take my acne to clear? And they're send an email in or they're asking a question, right? And or on a post or something. And the feedback is, well, we need to actually see your skin. So I'm referring people out to Wish Pros based on where they live. Like, oh, we have a new Wish Pro in Nebraska. Fantastic. You're in a good location. But it's such a, just like your fingerprint, it's such a unique to you situation, and everyone's diet is different, and everyone's, skincare routine is different, and everybody is at a different place with what they're using. And you're not going to get that until you ask a lot of questions. The new estheticians that we train are nervous. And my thing right now that I keep telling people, and I'll even do it with them as like an exercise, is because they get nervous with me too. I'm like, don't be nervous. Like, what? There's nothing. There's no judgment. Is to role play. Start having the conversation. Like, go get a product, talk to your sister, talk to your boyfriend, talk to whomever, and start role playing the conversation and giggle and laugh and get it all out because it's super funny and it's super uncomfortable. But that's how you gain your confidence when you start asking a lot of questions, because that's really how you're going to formulate your approach, is by what they're telling you.
So a girl comes in. I had got a new hire, and I was training them on what to ask the person. She's like, I'm just breaking out everywhere. And I was like, okay, so let's go through it all. So we're like talking about it, and I said, so we're talking about your regimen yesterday. We keep going down the regimen. She's been falling asleep with her makeup on. And I was like, but that's because we're going through a series of questions. I'm like, okay, what do you do before you go to bed? She's like, well, I used this cleanser. It was like a scrub cleanser, but she didn't pre-cleanse. So I always do like a pre-cleanse prior to that.
Yep.
So that your thing. One of the things that I emphasize to them though, because obviously like, it's funny between like you and I to hear like, she's falling asleep with her makeup on, but she really had no idea. But during that time, I'm telling her, and I'll tell her, I was like, the only reason why I know is because it's literally my job. Mm-hmm. I got into this because I didn't know what to do, So I always tried to like comfort them that it's like I don't know it all, and the only reason why I do know some of it is because it's literally my job to tell you. You're paying me for this.
Well, Steve and I were having a conversation yesterday about we were doing a taping for something we're going to do in the group tomorrow, but we do it all day, every day, right? So I am an expert at all these formulations and all these products because it's what I do all day, every day. And the fact that a client comes in and doesn't think that it's a good idea to not fall asleep with her makeup on when she's acne prone, it didn't even occur. It's probably not even a thought like, oh, that couldn't possibly be it. And you're like, what? Second nature? Like, you gotta wash your face before you go to bed.
Before you go to bed, yeah. But I got into the industry because I was totally the girl who like thought I was washing my face correctly and I wasn't. And I was like, if I would have known that I just had to have a good regimen. I remember I went into Sephora before I was in the industry, and I went to them, and I have acne prone skin. I'm super oily, but they told me I had rosacea. So I bought like literally, I don't know, like $800 worth of rosacea products. And
as you would do at Sephora.
As I would do at Sephora. So I'm like piling it on, and I am like broken out and terrible. So I go back to Sephora, and I was like, I'm returning this 3 weeks in. And then I was like, look what it did to me. The lady literally gasped. She goes, oh, yes, and she returned it, all of it.
She's like, wow, we gave you a rosacea routine, and obviously you needed an acne routine. Right. But case in point, in our industry, we have whatever they saw an influencer on TikTok. So we have to remember that there are some licensed people working at Ulta and Sephora, but the majority of them are getting product training for brands, but they're not actually, haven't gone to school, don't know professional treatments, and they're just recommending whatever they think from looking at somebody. And I always say buyer beware when you go into, we go into Sephora. There's one in a Kohl's out here. We're going in to do an Amazon return. And I see these little girls with carts full of stuff. I'm like, she's like 14. She's buying $500-$600 for the product. I'm like, where did she learn about that? She saw it on TikTok, Instagram. Like, what is going on? All right. So I love all of those things. And you guys are going to get so much more from Maria, because we're going to now talk about the Money Making Esthetician on Facebook and really what this has become and what is created. So what year did your actual page launch?
I think 2020.
So literally during the pandemic.
Yeah, it was probably like March or February of 2020. I was like the summer. I was like way in. I don't even remember. I was like I was in the pandemic, and I know this because I was absolutely had nothing to do, and I was helping another Facebook group, and that's when I like went and paid like $20 as a graphic designer for my banner. So I was like, I want to have a really pretty banner. Yeah.
So 2020. So this is the coolest thing. So to go from 2020 pandemic, which obviously to go to now 100,000 plus followers in the group, which, you know, Maria's managing and monitoring and making sure that there's the correct people in there, that they're being nice to each other. It's kind of like a schoolyard sometimes. Like, kids, stop that. You could not be mean to her. Like, go over here. Like, what do you... It's hilarious because I see some of the comments and questions, but your goal behind the group was really to help people not do the same things that you did starting out solo, like as a place for estheticians to come and ask questions.
Exactly. Or so a place to ask questions, and then also a place to get resources. For example, when I first, obviously at the time, skincare was not cool when I first went like solo. It was lashes. I don't remember. It was like a huge lash trend. Everybody needed lashes. Yep, so I was like, you know what? This is my plan. I'm going to take a lash class, have them come in, and then I'm going to switch them over to skincare. Because skincare was what I wanted to do.
Your gateway, yeah.
Paid $1,700. That's a lot of money for like having no money, right?
Yes.
I learned nothing. She didn't teach me how to do the eye. She didn't teach me how to isolate. And I know it was bad because I had joined their Facebook group, and there was this set of lashes that I thought I like killed it. I was like, I killed this set, right? Posted it in the group. It was so bad. They turned off the comments. Everybody told me what a terrible job I did, how I was going to like do a lot of things. So I had always been obsessed with Facebook groups because I feel like you can get so much knowledge from a Facebook group because it's like real stuff. So I stopped doing lashes. And then I had already loved Facebook groups. So I'm like, I'm in mom Facebook groups. I want to learn how to do keto. I want to learn how to do HIIT. I want to be an entrepreneur. There's a Facebook group for it all, right? But what I did learn is there wasn't like a place that I thought where people were taking Facebook groups that seriously, and I was really taking my group seriously. So like I was DMing, emailing people like, do you want to do live? Do you want to do this? And I had kind of thought about the group being a whole holistic because I don't necessarily just like an entrepreneur is a mom. So I was bringing people in like meditation, manifestation, mindset.
I love it.
Treatment, so like acne courses, like so people who already had like a following, I would invite them, and they would do like a couple because I didn't really have that many people. And then finally during the pandemic, it started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it just kept going.
You're watching those numbers, and you're like, whoa, oh God, there's 5,000 people. Oh, whoa, there's 12,000 people. Oh shit, there's 25,000 people.
Well, to be really honest, my whole philosophy and everything that I do, I don't focus on the numbers. I only focus on being consistent. Because for me, the numbers, I'm not a numbers person. I'm not. So like, I just know, I saw it in another Facebook group a long time ago. That's like, all you have to make $10,000 a month, you have to make $500 a day. So that's 2 facials, 4 products. I don't remember the breakdown. But I was like, okay. So now I went on this like thing. I'm like, how can I get, so when I first went, so I was like, okay, I just need 3 clients today. That's all I need. And each client's going to get two products, 3 products, a package, and this. And boom, I made $500. That's all I need to do. 10,000? Okay.
We got to give you a little, so this is hilarious because it's a celebratory moment. Because it's true. You had a little focus. So you heard it somewhere. You had the thought process. You're like, I need to get 3 clients. I need to make $500. And
That's
then
it. Right? That was so easy. What? Okay, so there I go. And then, so then I was posting in real time in the Facebook group everything I was doing. So just what was in my mind. What was in Maria's little head, was in this little Facebook. I cannot even, actually, I'm probably going to go back to the first couple of posts. Cringe. Anyways, so I'm like doing all of this, and the Facebook group starts like going. So I'm just like approving people or whatever. But it had never been to like I guess I didn't have a number of where I wanted to go. I was like, I'm just gonna focus on being consistent because numbers are like that kind of stuff is overwhelming. Because then, like,
Yeah.
if I focus on the numbers and it doesn't grow, I'm gonna feel like a failure. Versus like, let me just post every single day. I didn't even know I could schedule a post at that time. So I was like going little by little by little by little, approving posts, and I didn't want to let just anybody post because I really wanted to keep it business focused. And I don't even know at what point I was like, there's like 10,000 people in here. That's cool. You know?
You know what, you bring up a huge we'll actually have to, you and I will have to talk about a manifestation board, what that means, and the energy. You know, I always say your energy flows where your attention goes, and it starts with a thought. So you hear somewhere $500 to make $10,000 a month. Okay, so I need 3 clients to make that $500, and then you like made it happen without even having to think about all the details and putting all these things in front of you that are going to like inhibit that from happening. You're just like, boom, okay, that happens. Now we're going to get on to the next thing. And the lack of planning or just even understanding the very basic fundamentals of business, because it's not taught anywhere in our industry. People are like, you know, I see people like taxes and platform and how do I do this and should I sign that and do I need a resale certificate? They're asking all these questions because no one's telling them like, what do I do? You guys, you can go into the Money Making Esthetician. If you're not a member, go in, become a member of the group, and just type something in the search that you're trying to research, and you'll just get a whole list of posts that are going to be very valuable information that will save you time, save you money, save you a lot of effort in whatever you're trying to achieve. It doesn't have to be hard and difficult. It's actually pretty interesting. So Maria, we were actually introduced through a mutual friend, which I got to tell you that story, Maria, offline, because that could be a whole Patreon in and of itself, like how that actually happened. You're gonna die. You're gonna die laughing. I'll tell you that story offline. But where do you see the group going now? Now that there is a significant volume of people in here, and what are your plans? Have you thought about what you want the group to actually become?
I really love what the group is, so I want to keep it what it is, which is like, oh my gosh, the other day we got a question. We just get really crazy questions, crazy in a good way. That's a really difficult conversation. This one girl was like, my client smells terrible. What do I do? But I love the fact that it's become such a safe community. And you know Maria's going to be watching that comment to make sure there's nobody rude in there.
Yes.
So you can ask those questions. And sometimes girls do get a little like in there. But I kind of want to keep it exactly what it is. So like being consistent, being able to ask those questions like, you know, this other girl was rude to a client, but she posted it in there looking to see how she can be better. And I like those questions because you have to be really brave and be okay with what you're going to get from it, but you really get to grow in a way that you wouldn't be able to grow anywhere else. Like actually getting something that said, or like, I like when there's an acne question. There was a couple today, and they're like, what do I do with this client? And then all of a sudden every esthetician like will diagnose them with the barrier and like everything ever, but you just get so much knowledge. As of today, I did launch the forum just to help more resources on the esthetician. I want to keep the group what it is, so it's really business related, but I did see that there was a need for estheticians to sell their equipment because it is, when you don't want it, where are you going to put it, right? And then where is a trusted source?
Yes.
And then, so an esthetician, I love that because an esthetician gets to sell it, make a little extra money, and another one gets to buy a half off. So it's a win-win.
It is a win-win. If you're listening to this or watching it and you're not a member of the Money Making Esthetician, go to Facebook. Everyone has a Facebook page. Request to join. It's going to ask you some questions. Make sure that you're legit before you actually get accepted into the group. But we're excited to announce. So Maria having this forum. So tell everybody how they would actually sign up. Like, how are they going to get information about the forum? What are the ways that they need? What do they need to do to actually become a part of this?
It's literally the website. So the Money Making, the Money Making SD and the Money Making Esthetician. I have them both. So just put it into a little thingy. Good. And then it just says forum, and that's it. You just get on. You do have to put your info in, so you do have to actually register because we want to keep it private. And that's it. So I want to, this year, my focus, because I usually go through years, like being super consistent in the group, partnering with the right people. So for example, my group is strictly business and education. So like partnering with you like Wish and doing demos and really, so if I see something being asked continuously, like I had someone who really a lot of people had waxing questions. I reached out to Starpo and I'm like, let's do a live here. Like answer these questions. You know, I'm the expert
Yes.
at bringing the experts, you know? And then Wish, which for acne, or Sonia for dermaplaning. Like, so being really consistent on the lives and education and resources that I'm bringing into the group. But then I also found it that that's where we got the forum. And then I was
Yes,
like,
I
we can do
love it.
both. So
Right.
the forum
And
is
it's,
going to be
again, free resources for the wherever you are in your aesthetic game. Like, if you're looking to buy equipment or you're looking to sell equipment, I do see people like posting somebody's trying to sell a laptop or something. I'm like, is this for real? Like, don't exchange information for that. But it makes total sense. So Maria, talk about so tomorrow I'll give everybody, so if you're listening to this, it is Monday, November 20th. We are actually going to be doing a live tomorrow with Maria in the group about actually a peel demo. And it's going to be really cool. So I see there's a lot, and you're in the group all day, every day, and you're seeing a lot of different things happening. And the number one thing I think that I see a trend is that somebody will post a question, and sometimes it could be 100 plus responses are all over the map about what the condition is, how to actually treat it. Of course, everybody has their brands and their products and their protocols, but it tells me that there's a consistent need for education, because we're all over the place. Some estheticians are like, don't treat that. That's whatever, staph infection. And then the other is just, you need to get a Jesner peel and like grind that off. And I'm like, that's why it's such a phenomenal group, because it gives people the opportunity to go and say, look at all that information, maybe do a little bit more research for myself to decide what is going to be the best treatment for this. And also being able to reach out to people and say, I just want to ask a question. This is I've seen some really intelligent, well thought out research posts with information. And I'm like, yes. And I always end up talking to those people offline, because I'm like, that's education, and that's what's really, really key. So that's actually going to happen tomorrow. Maria, also tell everybody where they can find you on all of your pages and all your stuff.
So if you go to the Money Making SD or the moneymakingesthetician.com, on my website you can see my Instagram, my Facebook group, everything. So I put it all in
The
one
Money
place.
Making SD. Yeah, the moneymakingST.com. So ESTHY.com.
ESTI.
ESTI. See, sometimes I put ESTHY as ST, so that's what I cleared. So ESTI.com.
Or literally the moneymakingesthetician.com. Just longer.
Right. I know. I love that. I love it. So I love you. I love you to pieces. I'm so excited that we get to share this information with the world. People can listen to a podcast, so you're going to be able to find this podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. We're also going to repost it on YouTube. Marie's got a great YouTube channel with all the previous lives that we've done, so it's a great resource to go if you want to watch her content. I think it's funny, Maria, because the reason that the podcast idea even came up was people from the group sending me a direct message, and they're saying, oh, I listened to your live with Maria while I was doing a treatment. I'm like, interesting. And then another couple weeks would go by, and a gal said, oh, I listened to your live when I'm going back and forth from work in the car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, people want to listen to this. So as we're rolling into 2024 and people are kind of curating what information is appropriate to them, my goal is always highlight somebody that's doing something right? They're having success with something, we want to highlight that. B, give them a tip, something they can learn, whether that's going into joining the Money Making Esthetician group and researching something, so there's a tool to walk away with. And then I like to end these with saying something funny, and it's hilarious. So Maria and I met, we have a conversation. She's like, all right, I'm gonna let you in the group. And the very first post I saw was about waxing, and she's like, damn it, oh my God, I knew that was gonna be the first post that you saw. It was. So this involved a man getting waxed and some inappropriate behavior, which shockingly to me, I was actually shocked when I saw all of the other women that have had similar experiences where somebody is acting inappropriate in a waxing setting. And as an esthetician, it can obviously be very uncomfortable that the first time that happens to a new esthetician.
Yeah.
like what's happening. So again, a safe space to go in and say, you know what, this happened to me today, and I don't really know how to respond to that. And 99.9% of the time, somebody in the group has had that experience, and they're able to say, you know what, this is how I manage that. Call the cops. One of them was call the cops. You know what, don't tell him he's not allowed to come back, like all of these things. But there's no really other forum that actually would be a question where you could ask. So I think it's so super cool, and I appreciate it. So any parting words that you have for our listeners today?
So my whole thing for now in 2024 in the group is don't suffer in silence.
Yes, I love
That is like my thing. That is what the group is created for. That is like when I think about the group and what I do for this year, which is like when I launched the YouTube, the forum, I'm trying to figure out how to better help and for them to get the resources easier.
Yeah.
And also to continue to create that safe space. So like, don't suffer in silence. The group is created for a reason. I promise I try my best to keep all the mean people out so that you're able to ask those really difficult questions. Because that is not an easy question to ask. I'm sure you felt shameful. You felt weird. I would feel like so bad personally. I'm too sensitive for that. So I don't know how I would.
It's me being even in the industry for over 25 years, you know, the people that are focusing on waxing, my friend Stephanie down in Texas has a waxing company, and she tells on TikTok the stories of some of these things that can happen. And there's a right way to have the conversation, an embarrassing way to have a conversation, or a wrong way to have a conversation where your client's not thinking about like, you know, probably want to cleanse a little before I come in for this type of a service. Like there's some things that just should be like, they're not thinking about obviously, but also in conduct and protocol and how to actually manage that, have that conversation and not feel like you did something wrong because you didn't do anything wrong. That person's doing something wrong. That person's being inappropriate. So I love all of that. So I'm going to actually mark this spot in the clip, Maria. So when we actually go offline, there's going to be, you're going to see that little uploading thing at the top of your screen. Don't click out of your browser until it goes to 100%, okay? Because that's going to be our thing. So I'm going to actually read a little Wish commercial. And I just want to thank everybody today for spending the time with Maria Ramos, the founder of the Money Making Esthetician and the Beauty Plug and all things going on in her Studio City location. You can find Maria at the Money Making ESTI.com, at which you'll have all of your resources for Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that fun stuff. And I want to say thank you for those listening today. This episode is sponsored by Wish Skin Health, the Microbiome Health Authority. And if you didn't know, acne is the #1 skin condition in the United States, with over 85% of people in America currently suffering from acne, which it's still the #1 skin condition. If you'd like to learn more about Wish, you can visit trywish.com, click on the professional tab, and you'll learn everything you ever wanted to know. If you're listening to this in the future, there's going to be, most likely, we'll have a replay on the YouTube channel, on Maria's YouTube channel, of our peel demo tomorrow, which is going to be Tuesday, November 22nd. So thank you so much, Maria, for your time today. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hang up.